Shabbat shalom, y'all. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm as close to this mic as I can possibly get.
We got the thumbs up from Janet.
Okay,
Yes.
good. It's better. Okay, thank you. Good. So, a lot's been going on, right? Really unbelievable, incredible. And on the one hand, I feel like this is the most exciting time to have ever been alive, ever in the history of ever. And on the other hand, I feel like this is the most miserable freaking time to have ever been dropped into the world, as we are facing a worldwide God only knows what. And I really do mean God in this case. And the upset and the roiling that goes on in our hearts, and the worry and the anxiety and the frustration and the distrust and all of this brokenness that comes bubbling up, and how we treat each other through it. How we can get nasty with the people closest to us, how we can find ourselves fighting with the people that we agree with the most, whose values are the closest to our own, how we can turn on each other, whether in big swatches like entire countries where people are turning on each other, or, we're all earthlings after all, and yet we turn on each other. And so I've been very disturbed by that tendency of our species. And I've been reading somebody who's been facing that and analyzing it and sorting through it, a young trans woman named Kai Cheng Tom, spelled Thom. And she's a first-generation Canadian, Chinese-Canadian trans woman who has been deeply steeped in radical social justice warrior politics and activities, and is now hitting the ripe old age of 30. And you'll be shocked to learn is starting to soften and mellow, and is asking the question, or is searching for a hope that we choose love. That we choose love. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because as I look around the world, I see a lot of leadership encouraging us to not choose love, to choose all kinds of other things. But our tradition teaches us that love is at the core of the whole business. That love, in all of its many wild and difficult to understand manifestations, is really and truly the place that the divine works in this world and works into us and through us. And that we can love things we don't even like. And we can love things that are wrong. We can love things that are bad. But if you don't love those things and you're engaging with them anyway, they will consume you. In one of her essays, she is talking about finding community that feels safe and that feels like you are accepted. And she talks about watching those systems arise and sometimes turn into rigid codes. And she says, we long for safety and order, but we love the thrill of transgression and danger. We long for safety and order, but we love the thrill of transgression and danger. And I think about that statement in terms of God, in terms of the divine, because my experience with the divine, as limited and as, sought after as it is that God is that very thing that thrills, that often moves us to transgress, that is often a little dangerous. Because that state of pure love is a state of leaving all of our physical, earthy, fleshy instincts to survive. Because love will survive. Love doesn't need a body. Love doesn't need a planet. Love doesn't need people or stories. Love just needs to be. Love just needs to continue to let the world unfold in its many weird, bizarre, beautiful, and dangerous manifestations. So this week's Torah portion starts out with this amazing little, it's, seemingly pretty run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. It says that, let me pull it up here for you and just read you this little bit and how I am starting to hear this in a new way this year. And Moses told the children of Israel according to all that God commanded Moses. Right there, you've got a mess. Moses is conveying to a huge number of individuals, here referred to as the children of Israel, according to all that God, love, truth, the ineffable, something that we can't wrap our heads around entirely, or our bodies, God knows, had commanded Moses. God's going to try to tell us all about what it's all about. God is manifesting through Moses in words. All right. And Moses says this. And Moses spoke into the heads of the tribes of the children of Israel. By heads, I don't mean like he spoke into their noggin. He spoke to the leaders of the tribes of Israel. And this is what he said. This is the thing which God has commanded. This is the thing that God has commanded. When a person vows a vow or swears an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. I just love reading these like really archaic translations sometimes. And it goes on into some really problematic sexist stuff. But what I'm pulling from this, first of all, is that there is a tendency for us to give over to someone else what it means to receive the truth, what it means to receive divine truth. That we choose leaders. It says it right there. There were already leaders who had been chosen, and obviously Moses was the leader of the leaders. And this tendency that we have to choose people, one person, to command a bunch of others. And that somehow we have this bizarre belief that is ancient, that the guy at the top, and it's usually a guy so far in this crazy history of ours, the guy at the top is the one who is connected to the ultimate truth and the ultimate love. I don't like it. I want to change it. I think that's a case of choosing our own oppressor. And I think what we really, really need to do is cut off that top tether that says the guy at the top is more connected to God than I am. I don't think it's a problem to say, hey, you're really good at organization. Could you do the organization part of this situation? And I'm really good at particulars, so I'd like to do the particulars. I don't think there's any problem with saying, you're really good at managing and I'm really good at delivering services. I don't think there's any problem with saying you're really good at teaching and I'm really good at learning. I don't think there's any problem with us acknowledging and embracing our big gifts. I think there's something wrong, deeply, deeply wrong, with thinking that anyone has got a deeper connection to love and truth than anyone else. And I think that part of our task and part of what this time needs to allow us is to claim our connection to the divine as a human given right. And you can call the divine whatever you want. You don't even have to think there is one. But you get to define your relationship with it. And the way that you bring it through your body, your words, your actions, your choices should be governed by love. Should be governed by a sense of your svara, your deep inner knowing. Your deep, deep, deep inner knowing that you could not make it through this life by yourself. And that love is the thing that both opens us up to each other and allows us to give, allows us to receive, and allows us to give. And in the Torah portion, it goes on to say, if you've made a vow, be really conscious of that. Your vows not only affect you, but they affect everyone around you. Your actions, your choices, those things that you think that you are committed to, they affect everyone around you. So be conscious. Find your way to your deepest truth. Find your way to your greatest capacity to love and be loved. And don't give that away to anyone ever. Shabbat Shalom.